Day by day, the brackish waters of the Chesapeake Bay and its tributaries are inching up on the land of Dorchester County, Maryland, and most frightening, perhaps, is the prospect of ever-rising numbers of climate refugees in this culturally and historically rich area. When looking at these video clips of Middle Hooper Island in Dorchester County, the large puddles on the side of the road are what most of us are used to seeing after a big rainstorm. This area, however, had not experienced rain in over a week.
When looking at a map of Maryland, Dorchester County is located here, just east of the Chesapeake Bay. National Geographic defines climate refugees as those who are forced to leave their homes and communities because of the effects of climate change and global warming. The term climate refugee is not widely accepted by international organizations or state governments, as there is little to no policy framework in place that sets a precedent for what should be done in Dorchester County. At the state level, mitigation measures have been implemented in order to combat future sea level rise and its direct consequences. However, at the local level, there is currently no policy in place addressing the needs specific to Dorchester County, Maryland. Major policy that is already in place in Maryland is not binding and vague in its directions. It only serves as advisements lacking the necessary stringent consequences and directions for real change. Dorchester County has one of the highest concentrations of Republican constituents in Maryland. In the 2016 election, Dorchester was one of the few counties in the state with a Trump majority. These political views make it difficult to implement adequate climate mitigation and adaptation measures that address sea level rise.
We had the chance to speak with Sandy McAllister, a prominent local lawyer and lifelong Dorchester resident, to hear his thoughts on the situation.
What's impactful?
Oh, man. Do you want to hear? Do you want to replay?
I am 63 years old. I have never been able to make enough money to smell a waterfront house. And so, I noticed that the three biggest advocates regarding sea level rise live on the Nanticoke River. So everybody's worried about sea level rise lives on the river. So I figure it's their problem.
According to the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, there were 24.2 million new displacements by disasters in 2016. So what policies can be enacted to account for this rising number of climate refugees, especially in Dorchester County?
Policy alternatives to the base case should focus on research and infrastructure guidelines specific to each county, as well as address the undeniable consequences of continued sea level rise. No matter what mitigation and adaptation measures are implemented, we will still continue to see a loss of land and therefore the destruction of citizens' homes and businesses. We propose using eminent domain in a socially conscious way in order to force the relocation of residents who will indisputably lose their land. This will be jointly subsidized by the government and insurance companies who would otherwise have to cover the more significant cost of rebuilding if the citizens stayed in their own homes. In pairing with historical education efforts to preserve cultural identity and tradition, we believe that this policy alternative would successfully address the climate refugee crisis in Dorchester County, Maryland.